Hello class, it is me, Naiza. Today I will be talking to you about my research project, which is based on apartheid and Nelson Mandela, and I will begin that with a poem. For many years we've been restrained, like prey trapped by a predator. But the life cycle will not restrict us. We will band together, making the predator our prey, undoing these shackles that chafe our freedom, and building a bright future filled with togetherness. So, the movements against apartheid in South Africa were basically similar to the civil rights movement that we had in the United States of America during the 50s and 60s and so on. And apartheid was another segregation policy. So basically there were separate entrances, one for whites and one for non-whites, and there was a lot of power controlling in the country. So yeah, it was a lot of exploitation of the non-white people because those people were the majority in the country, and formal imperialism kept white people there and they wanted to remain in power, so they created these apartheid policies that made the non-white people stuck under their foot or whatever, and basically it really made the country a bad place to be in if you were not white. A lot of what the government did was deceive people about their strikes and opposition, making them feel like they were failing and decreasing morale, and that wasn't the case because a lot of what they were doing was changing the country, and other countries noticed as well, so they began to oppose apartheid, the United States, United Kingdom, Soviet Union. They were this is bad, we're gonna boycott your trade and not have anything to do with you. You're canceled. So protesting was a thing that happened a lot of the time, and there were opposition groups created to represent these people that were protesting, but what the government did about that, they just made it completely illegal to protest and would arrest people without trial. So it was really hindering the people, and basically a lot of control was going on. It was overall a continuation of imperialism because they segregated every race with housing, employment, schools, and everything else. And it would make non-white people be forced into these jobs that did not pay well, and they really could not come up in the world. And it's just oh, I'm born non-white, so I'm just gonna stay at the bottom, low class, for my whole life, and that's really sucky. So basically who Nelson Mandela was a black man living in South Africa while apartheid was going on, and basically he fought against these apartheid rules because they obviously were not right, and it was just a bad time for South Africa. But he was imprisoned for doing this because they made protesting illegal. But when he came out, he stood tall and became a very bright symbol for the non-white people wanting to have their own freedom and power. So every race in the country was affected by apartheid. It wasn't just the black people. They would actually separate Asians, black people, and non-whites into their own racial class, so they basically did not interact at all. Violence against non-white protesters was very common, and there was a lot of military and police action in the country. They would kill people. That's really bad, and it's kind of hard to think about how evil and just mean they could be. It's really hard to talk about. And basically they prepared for civil war by using conscription for a military force, and like they were ready to just beat every non-white person up and just like leave them in the ground and like not even give a care in the world. But because of like opposition from other countries and opposition from protest groups, they felt peer pressured into removing the apartheid policies, and Nelson Mandela actually met up with like a leader at the time and got rid of those policies. So in the end, everything turned out to be good, and the people were given the power they deserved and the freedom they deserved. And a lot has happened since then, but it is important to look back and reflect on the past so that we can build a really bright future together and have companionship and love spread all over the place. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk about my research project. Bye!